Life is about choices, no matter what we're going through. And if you don't have the right mindset or don't allow yourself to develop the right mindset, you will never amount to being the person you are quite capable of being. This goes for any of us. It doesn't matter if you have millions of dollars in the bank or $0 or you're negative X amount of dollars in the bank. You can actually think your way out. Now, does that mean you just sit down in some chair and focus on manifesting money out of thin air? No. It simply means that you change your thinking about your situation. Instead of being a victim, you become a victor. So what if you develop the mental fortitude? What if you discovered that it is actually easier to imagine yourself in a better position and imagine yourself taking the right steps and going through the right process to get the desired results than it is to sit back, whine, complain, and allow yourself to sink into a black hole? See, this is part 2 that's focused on the mindset, okay? So I'm going to talk to you today about some mental tactics to dominate any challenge. It always begins in the mind. First, you have to become aware of something, right? So you need information. Then what you think about that information, if you think correctly about what you hear, and you allow it to permeate your heart and permeate your mind, and you think on these things, and you repeat those positive words to yourself. And this is not simply about positive thinking, even though that does have some benefits, but it's really about you discovering who you are, becoming aware of who you are, what you're capable of, what you can do. This is not something you can just pray about. This is not something you can just talk about. This is not something you can just read about or even just watch a video like this about. You have to be an active participant in the story of your life, and that is entirely up to you. So, how do I do that, Darius? I'm going through a straight financial challenge, or I just suffered a terrible tragedy. My spouse just died. My child just died. Or I was in a major car wreck. What am I going to do? I used to be able to use my hands. Or I used to be able, I need my legs. I need my feet to walk. And I can't anymore. There was a lady by the name of Helen Keller. She was blind, and I actually didn't know I was going to go that direction. So that's why you like thinking right off the cuff sometimes. Sometimes you can come playing on what you're going to talk about, and sometimes you have to just go with the moment, go with the flow. And so her name is Helen Keller, was Helen Keller, and she was blind, and she did not have obviously a normal life, but she became someone great. And one of the things I know about her, actually, I need to do a deep dive on her story. But the little bit I heard, because I heard one of my favorite coaches talking about her, one of my favorite motivational coaches talking about her, she had a mindset that did not let her limit her ability to be of an impact in life, simply because she heard something different and she decided something different. She had a different view of herself in here. If you waited for everything out here to change in order and to become convenient, to become comfortable, to become easy for you, likely you're going to fail. It's likely you're not going to succeed and become the person that you were meant to be, do the things you were meant to do, and therefore have the things you were meant to have. And so we must change our thoughts. Helen Keller did not let her blindness keep her from becoming, she was a great speaker. And I think she did some other things too. Like I said, I'm going to have to do a deep dive. I wasn't prepared to speak on her, but she's the first person that popped up in my mind. But anyway, she did some great things. But before I go into some more stories like that, I want to help you have some in-game strategies or learn some in-game strategies. And this is just going to be 3 points. This video here is not going to be too long. It doesn't need to be too long. I ask you to go back and listen to it as often as you need. Because if you apply simple principles, we don't need 27,000 different motivational quotes and 20,000 steps in order for us to start using principles. Matter of fact, I submit to you, you have already been using a lot of these principles. You just have to use them in the right situations that benefit you and others. So here's some in-game strategies on how to stay sharp, how to stay confident or develop confidence, and decisive under pressure. So number one, focus shifts. We got to protect our focus, keeping your attention on what matters when distractions hit. Why are there so many car wrecks or auto accidents? Because somebody lost their focus. When you're driving, you shouldn't be driving with your phone in your hand. And I have been guilty of that sometimes. But I pay attention to what's going on. But nope, I make it a practice. I said, nope, you ain't doing that. Maybe you take your eyes off the road a minute to turn the station, the radio station, or something dropped in the passenger side of this car, in the seat or on the floor. Now you think you will have the coast is clear. You bend down for a moment to pick that pen up or that piece of food that you was eating, and you're in a wreck. Or you left the house late because you weren't focused. What do you mean? You did not take care of business either the night before, or you didn't get up on time. And so now your mind is going 5 different places all at the same time. And so now you can't focus on getting dressed. You can't focus on, for you ladies, putting on your makeup or getting your coffee. You're trying to do all of those things all at once. And you are working or operating at a hurried pace that's setting you up. And now all your energy is out of control. And before you know it, what happens? You end up in a car wreck. We end up in life wrecks all of the time in one way or another. And we need to stop doing that. So we have to protect our focus. Listen, if you would, type that in the chat for me. Protect your focus. Focus on the right things and protect that focus. Let's go to point number 2. Pressure control. Turning stress into fuel and not fear. You know, the Bible says a lot. Do not fear, or fear not. Why are we getting afraid unnecessarily of success? Why are we afraid to make decisions that we might make mistakes in? I can tell y'all honestly, I don't like making mistakes. I never have. But my father last year challenged me, and he introduced another, what I like to call wisdom food. And he said, Darius, because my deal was, I have a lot of regrets. I mean, I had business opportunities I failed at. I had opportunities when investors wanted to invest in me. I missed those opportunities. I missed relationship opportunities. I just did not amount to being who I'm capable of being. And so that hurt. Nobody put any pressure on me, but it hurt me, and it caused me mental stress and depression at times. And it did not fuel me to move forward in the next adventure. For example, doing this channel, I started this channel earlier this year. I wouldn't have started this channel if I was thinking the old way I was before last September of 2024. My dad said, Darius, reframe your past. I said, wow, reframe my past. I said, that's a game changer. Why? Because now I can look at the past and I can redefine it. I can look at the past and redefine it. And that's what you can do. Look at your past. The successes, build on those. Learn valuable lessons from those. The failures, turn those into learning opportunities. So I don't have failures in my life. I call them lessons. Why? Because now that puts me in a position to learn and ask myself some of the right questions so they can give me some of the right answers. But also it gives me an opportunity. Instead of stepping back or stumbling, it gives me an opportunity to step up. And you have to give yourself, if you want to be successful, if you want to control your mindset, you give yourself an opportunity to give yourself a leg up. Help yourself. Don't wait for help from anybody else. Yes, there are people who love you. Yes, there's a God who loves you, who wants to help you. But here's the question. Do you love yourself? And what are you willing to do to demonstrate that? If you're tired of where you are, think your way out of it, talk your way out of it, and start acting your way out of it. Create the life that you want. And don't drive blindly. Now, am I saying you're going to see everything on the street or everything around the corner? No more than when you're driving on the street now. You can't see everything. You can't see all of the road. You can't see every corner, every turn that's coming, or anybody who's coming. No, you cannot do that. But you can prepare yourself. You can make adjustments when you see distractions on the road, or somebody calls you and you have to pick up the phone because you don't have your Bluetooth devices in your ears. Any of those things, instead of allowing yourself to become a victim of the moment, take control of the moment. How? You got to protect your focus. You got to look at, allow yourself also not to be squeezed and stressed and pulled by the pressures of life, by the pressures of your expectations. Give yourself some breathing room. I had to give myself some breathing room, and it feels pretty good. I'm telling you, it feels pretty good. We're talking about dominating any challenge. Many of us think in terms of exerting a lot of physical effort. In certain situations, that if the need, if that is a demand, if that's a requirement, do it. But all the time, nope, it's not going to work. You're not going to be successful that way. No. Look at the opportunity that's sitting before you. Look at the situation that's before you. Ask yourself some questions about this pressure. Is it really as bad as it feels or as it sounds? Is it as bad as it looks? Or what good can I extract from this? What are my best solutions? Instead of saying how bad this is and how tragic it is and boy, this is just going. No, ask yourself some different questions. Ask yourself what I like to call winning questions. What can I learn from this moment? How can I redefine this experience? How can I let this help me become better? How can I serve other people better? What solutions, what opportunities does this present for me now? I mean, when you start thinking creatively, now there's a pressure release. Do this for yourself. Help somebody else. Maybe you know someone else who's going through, who gets stressed out easily, who panics easily, who fears easily. No, help them out. Share this video with them. Tell them, listen, you don't really have to be in that mode. That stress mode is painful. Release the pressure. Yeah, y'all should tell people that. I like that. I may do something else with that. Release the pressure. And the last point I want to make is this. And this is one of the absolute most important things you must not forget. This is something you should always be mindful of. All of us need to continue to be mindful of. Is execution. Speaking of pressure real quick. How is Elon Musk able to have a vision for the future in space? How is he able to be on one of the most successful social media platforms in X? How is he able to build space rockets? He's talking about going to Mars, which we're going to probably have to build a space station and then go ahead and set up a colony on Mars. He's talking about cars, self-driving cars, and then he's in the AI. And then he was helping out at the White House for a while. How is he able to juggle so many successful ventures? These are not just ventures. He's been successful. Because he has managed himself and continues. It's an ongoing process. You will never stop. You will never stop learning, never stop growing unless you decide that. Now that's Elon Musk on a much grander scale, but look at your situation. How can you learn the principles he uses? How can you learn, take those and apply them to your life? Ask the right questions. Position yourself to be successful. Once again, as a child of God. It's not just something you pray about, but you do ask God for help. For those who don't, I encourage everybody really to trust God. But you can still use God's principles. You can use God's principles. I advise you, I encourage you, get his help, but his principles still work. The Bible says the sun shines. God makes the sun to shine on the just and the unjust. So God's principles are fully endorsed and enforced. If you apply them, they're going to work. But once again, they work even better with his help, or they work best with his help than without him. So, execution. Acting boldly and consistently to outlast your competitors. If you want to be truly successful, let's look around at it. Look around. Life moves at the speed of results. Let's look at it that way. Life moves at the speed of results. Are there times when you must simply relax? Oh, most definitely you need to. You are not built to go, 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 go. None of us are. We must rest. But even then, that's a part of your execution, because as you rest, as you relax, as you recuperate, you get rejuvenated, you get reinvigorated, you get re-energized, so you can start again. Execute. This means execute whatever it is you're supposed to be working on. Take out the trash. Stop letting it build up. Get the laundry done. Do your homework. Write out that plan. Come up with a vision. Sit down and think. Start that business. Become the best employee or an employer that you can be. Whatever you are working on that's good, that's noble, that's beneficial to yourself, your family, and to society, work on that diligently. Execute. Life's about results. My dad always says life is choice driven. So make sure you make the wise decision. Do the best you can to put yourself in the best position to win. If you win the mental game, you can win the game of life. That's a big part. You know, the Bible says also, as a man thinks, and that's talking about men and women. It's not just gender based. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. If you have determined that you're not going to be successful, that nothing good ever happens for you, you are absolutely right. If you decide that life is about to get even better for you and that opportunities are abounding and are in abundance for you, you are absolutely right. You get it? So go win the game of life that is set up for you to win. You're not in a race with me. You're not in a race with so-and-so. Yes, it may seem like it on your jobs, especially in the sales force. A lot of people are in competition and so on and so on. But generally speaking, you are in a race to win the race that was designed specifically for you. Go and be the best, do the best, so you can have the best. And maximize the moment. I'll see y'all in the next one.